All right, let's dive deep today.
Yeah.
Into the world of receptor tyrosine kinases.
RTKs.
RTKs, that's right.
Everyone's heard of them.
You've probably heard of them, but we're going to see how they can go rogue and fuel cancer growth and spread.
It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, we've got some
dense research.
some dense research to unpack, so get ready for some serious aha moments.
For sure.
As we connect the dots between tiny RTK alterations and
The hallmarks of cancer.
the hallmarks of cancer.
And
Okay.
I love it. So we're getting down to the molecular level here.
Yeah.
Really looking under the hood,
Under the hood.
seeing what's causing this malfunction.
So let's start with a quick recap for our listener.
Sure.
What exactly are RTKs? Why should we care?
So imagine a cell as a bustling city,
Okay.
constantly receiving information
Right.
from its surroundings.
Uh-huh.
RTKs are like specialized antennas
Okay.
on top of buildings, picking up signals,
Interesting.
transmitting them.
Right to the control center.
Exactly.
These signals are crucial for regulating growth,
That's right.
division, even the city's self-destruction.
Yeah, if things go wrong.
So if these antennas malfunction, the city could be in big trouble.
Precisely. When RTKs go rogue, it's like receiving these garbled messages or
Uh-huh.
amplified messages,
Right.
leading to chaos and
Controlled growth.
uncontrolled growth, the hallmark of cancer.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Our research points to three main ways that these RTKs can go haywire:
Uh-huh.
mutations,
Okay.
overexpression, and fusion proteins.
Sounds complicated.
It does sound a little sci-fi.
It does, yeah.
Let's start with mutations.
Okay.
How can such a tiny change have such a big impact?
Well, think of a mutation as a glitch in the antenna's wiring.
Okay.
So instead of accurately transmitting signals,
Right.
it might send continuous signals even when there's no message to relay.
Wow.
This is what's called constitutive activation.
Okay.
And a perfect example of this is the VRBA oncogene.
The what?
VRBA oncogene,
Okay.
which is a mutant form of the thyroid hormone receptor alpha,
Oh, wow.
or TRIA.
Okay.
This mutation causes uncontrolled cell growth
Right.
and is often found in something called
Yeah.
avian erythroblastosis retrovirus.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is,
Right.
which leads to leukemia and sarcomas
Oh, no.
in birds.
In birds, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like the antenna is stuck in the on position,
Yeah,
sending constant signals,
exactly.
even when it shouldn't be.
That's a great way to put it.
What about overexpression?
Okay.
Is it like having too many antennas trying to pick up the same signal?
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Overexpression means there are just too many copies
Okay.
of a particular RTK
Right.
on the cell surface,
Uh-huh.
leading to an overwhelming influx of signals.
This is like a room full of people all shouting instructions.
Exactly. Chaos is inevitable.
Chaos is inevitable.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's two ways these RTKs can go wrong.
right.
Now, what about those fusion proteins?
Fusion proteins.
Those sound kind of like a science fiction movie plot.
They can be pretty bizarre.
Oh,
Fusion proteins are created when two different genes,
okay.
each with their own instructions,
Uh-huh.
get fused together.
Okay.
If one of those genes codes for an RTK,
Right.
the resulting protein can have new and unexpected properties.
So it's like combining instructions for an antenna with, say, instructions for a loudspeaker.
Yeah, exactly.
You end up with a hybrid contraption
The hybrid.
that can send out super amplified signals.
Exactly. And these fusion proteins can disrupt signaling in various ways,
Oh.
leading to either constant on signals or even heightened sensitivity to regular growth factors.
So it's like the cell's being bombarded with a distorted and overwhelming message.
That's right, leading to uncontrolled growth.
So we've got these rogue RTKs sending all the wrong messages.
Right.
How does this actually translate to those hallmarks of cancer we keep hearing about?
Yeah.
Like the uncontrolled growth, the ability to evade death, the tendency to spread.
Those are all downstream effects
Okay.
of this signaling chaos.
Okay.
For example, ligand-independent signaling,
Okay.
which we talked about earlier with that stuck-on antenna analogy,
Right. Right.
allows cancer cells to grow uncontrollably.
They've become independent.
They have,
Yeah.
ignoring the body's natural stop signals.
It's like they figured out how to hit the gas pedal even when the brakes are on.
Exactly.
And what about those other hallmarks?
Yeah.
Evading death and spreading.
Well, when the cell cycle,
Okay.
which is normally tightly regulated, is
Wow.
constantly bombarded with growth signals,
Uh-huh.
malignant proliferation kicks in.
Okay.
The cell loses its ability to control its division,
Right.
and tumors begin to exploit these pathways,
Wow.
hijacking the body's normal growth mechanisms to fuel their own expansion.
So it's not just that they're growing out of control, they're hijacking the system and growing even faster.
It's like a hostile takeover.
Yeah.
the city's resources and infrastructure.
So we've got this pretty bleak picture so far.
It is, yeah.
Is there any hope?
Um,
Can we fight back against these rogue RTKs?
oh, there is hope.
Okay.
And a lot of it, that's
Right.
where targeted inhibitors come in.
Oh, yeah.
These are a new class of drugs that specifically aim to silence
Gotcha.
those rogue RTKs,
Right.
cutting off the fuel supply.
Okay. Like a precise strike team.
Yes,
Instead of going after all dividing cells,
exactly.
like with chemo,
Right.
this is more like a laser-like precision,
That's a good analogy.
hitting the right targets.
But how do doctors know which antenna to target?
Right.
I mean, there's so many different types of RTKs.
Yeah.
They're not all involved in every cancer.
That's where the idea of personalized medicine comes in,
Exactly.
using a patient's unique genetic information
Right.
to guide treatment decisions.
Genetic testing and tumor biopsies are crucial here.
Okay.
Genetic testing can identify specific mutations or
Oh.
fusion genes that are driving the cancer,
Okay.
while biopsies can reveal the levels of RTK expression,
Showing us.
showing us which signaling pathways are most active.
So it's like creating a personalized roadmap
Yeah.
for each patient's cancer,
Uh-huh.
highlighting the faulty antennas that need to be shut down.
Exactly.
How do these targeted inhibitors actually work?
Well, there are different types, each with their own mechanism of action.
Okay.
Some, like monoclonal antibodies,
Okay.
are like guided missiles
Right.
that attach to the RTK on the cell surface,
Blocking it.
blocking it from receiving signals.
Gotcha. So they can't receive those bad signals.
And then others,
Okay.
called small molecule inhibitors,
Okay.
work by sneaking inside the cell
Interesting.
and jamming the internal machinery
Oh, wow.
that the RTK needs to send its signals.
It's amazing how scientists have figured out how to interfere with these complex pathways.
It is.
But I imagine there must be challenges, too.
Oh, there are definitely challenges.
Like what?
One of the biggest is drug resistance.
Okay.
Cancer cells are incredibly adaptable,
Right.
and over time they can develop ways
Uh-huh.
to bypass the effects of targeted inhibitors.
So it's like the city's finding new ways to communicate,
Exactly.
even after those antennas have been shut down.
That's right. It becomes a constant race
Yeah.
between developing new drugs
Right.
and the cancer evolving to escape those treatments.
A cat and mouse game.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
But there are also some promising new approaches being explored.
Okay, like what?
For example, some researchers are working on combination therapies
Okay.
that use multiple
Gotcha.
targeted inhibitors at once.
Hit them with everything we've got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Making it harder for the cancer to develop resistance.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Oh.
So while there are still challenges,
Yeah.
it seems like the future of cancer treatment is heading towards this more personalized approach.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
And as we learn more about the intricacies of these signaling pathways,
Right.
we'll be able to develop even more effective.
Targeted treatment.
This has been such an eye-opening dive into the world of RTKs.
It has
We've seen how they can be essential for normal function,
Yeah.
but how their malfunction can lead to cancer.
It's a delicate balance.
It is.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I'm curious about something.
Yeah.
We focused a lot on treatment.
Right.
Could understanding these pathways also help us prevent cancer in the first place?
That's a great question, and one that researchers are actively investigating.
Okay.
There's growing evidence that lifestyle factors like diet and exercise
Okay.
can influence RTK signaling.
So those healthy habits we keep hearing about might be helping to keep our cellular antennas in check.
Exactly. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle is never a bad idea.
That's good advice for just about everything.
It is.
What else are researchers looking at?
Another exciting area of research
Yeah.
is exploring the role of natural compounds
Okay.
that might have the ability to modulate RTK activity.
Interesting. Where can we find these? These could be found in certain foods, plants, or even fungi.
Wow. So we might one day be able to harness the power of nature to help prevent cancer.
It's definitely a possibility.
Wow.
It all comes back to understanding the balance
Right.
of these signaling pathways
Right.
and finding ways to keep them functioning properly.
It's fascinating to think about the complexity
It is.
of this cellular communication network
Yeah.
and how it's all interconnected.
Our diet, our lifestyle, our genetics.
It really makes you appreciate the complexity of the human body
It does.
and how even tiny changes
Yeah.
at the molecular level
Right.
can have ripple effects
Exactly.
throughout the whole system.
And the more we learn about these connections, the more we realize how much we still don't know.
Yeah, it is overwhelming.
It is humbling and exciting.
Yeah, it makes you want to learn even more. It's
Yeah,
overwhelming,
it is.
but in a good way.
In a good way.
Like, I just want to keep learning.
Exactly.
I guess that's what this deep dive is all about.
It's exactly unpacking these complex topics and
Yeah.
making them understandable and exciting.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've only scratched the surface
Okay.
today, but you've hit on a crucial point.
You have.
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
The research is ongoing,
Right.
and there's still so much we don't know, but knowledge is power.
So the more we understand,
Right.
the better equipped we'll be to develop new treatments.
Exactly.
And prevention strategies.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So, for example, understanding how RTKs
Yeah.
can be dysregulated opens up these new avenues for drug development.
That makes sense.
We can target specific mutations,
Right.
develop ways to counteract overexpression, or even design therapies that interfere with those fusion proteins.
So it's like we're learning the enemy's tactics so we can outmaneuver them.
Exactly.
What about prevention?
Yeah.
Are there any concrete steps our listener can take right now based on what we've learned today?
While the research is still emerging,
Okay.
there are some promising areas to keep an eye on.
Okay.
As we discussed, studies suggest that lifestyle factors like diet and exercise can influence RTK signaling.
Right.
So maintaining a healthy lifestyle is never a bad idea.
Eat well, stay active, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
What about those natural compounds that you mentioned?
Yeah.
Are there any specific foods or supplements we should be looking at?
It's still too early to make specific recommendations,
Okay.
but there's definitely a lot of interest in this area. Researchers are studying compounds found in plants,
Okay.
like green tea, turmeric, and even berries,
Oh, interesting.
to see if they can modulate RTK activity.
So while more research is needed, it sounds like filling our plates with colorful fruits and vegetables
Right.
might be a good place to start.
It certainly can't hurt.
It can't hurt.
And it really highlights a fascinating aspect of this whole field.
Yeah.
The interconnectedness, our diet, our lifestyle, our genetics, it all plays a role in this intricate dance of cellular communication.
It makes you appreciate the complexity of the human body
It really does.
and how even the tiny changes at the molecular level can have ripple effects.
Exact throughout the system. And the more we learn about these connections,
Yeah.
the more we realize how much we still don't know.
It's a lot to learn.
It's a humbling and exciting field to be a part of.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
Well, I think we've given our listener plenty to ponder today.
I think so too.
We went from those basic cellular antennas
Right.
to the hallmarks of cancer,
Yeah.
and we even touched on the future of treatment
And prevention.
and prevention.
Yeah,
Hopefully we sparked some curiosity along the way.
I hope so too.
So, to our listener, keep exploring, keep asking questions. Remember that journey of discovery is just beginning.
It is.
Who knows what other secrets
Exactly.
those cellular doorbells might be hiding. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.